Alright, welcome to another edition of What the Fuck Happenings here in inmendham. In inmendham? Well, not really. Just the inmendham part. Anyway, so I did do a debate, a conversation with Vegan Gains. So I will link appropriately to that. Also did a video on my website, analyzing some of the arguments and trying to get to the root of it, so to speak. And so I wrote a short little syllogism thingy of the logical connections and, the facts that you outline, and then you say, okay, those are enough facts for me to say, the word ought. So I think it probably could be written better, and maybe somebody can improve it, and then we'll just send that off and see if he wants to respond to that and see if we can get to the core of the argument. So somewhere in the core of the argument is this idea that some people don't think the feelings that you have are innately good and bad. Like somehow, I would argue that you can know, the argument from nature tells you that evolution made them deliberately pleasant and unpleasant. Okay, so it's not like you misinterpreted them. You're interpreting them exactly how nature wanted you to interpret them, as stop and go. Okay, the signs are obviously different, and the things are made to be different. Okay, and they're made by evolution. Evolution constructed it all, and it's certainly constructed the perception of this obnoxious condition you can be in, where you will seek to get out of the obnoxious condition because it's so obnoxious and not good. It's got a lot of not good in it. And he's basically arguing that, no, you've misinterpreted, you've misunderstood the sensation, you've cheated it, you've book covered it or something, you've been bigoted, okay, and you've been unfair to the poor, obnoxious, horrible feeling, and it's really a great thing, a great fun, and you've just perverted it into a bad thing, when no, it's just it's so cool and so wonderful. Something like that. Like there's some doubt, like of the integrity of the feeling. The properties of the feeling are somehow in doubt, and so we can't make any statements because we can't be sure that horrible, awful, obnoxious sensations are actually horrible, awful, and obnoxious. Now, it seems an argument you should not have to have with intelligence. Okay, it's an argument you have with morons. But anyway, it happens. I could argue that, the whole physics thing, you could just say, gee, a lot of smart people are falling for all that wooey crap. So, smart people go bad. They still, just hit themselves in the head with the hammer. I mean, they don't get, no, you hit down, not up, down with the hammer. So it's the world we live in. It's not very smart, sadly. So I have to make these videos because, we live in a world where they can't tell the difference between a cupcake and a nail in your eye. So, it all went fairly well, reasonably pleasant. I didn't realize he put this background in here, which is sort of obnoxious. So maybe he did it before the interview, I don't know, where he created the icon. And he has this silly little Ten Commandment thing. And I made a direct effort to separate myself from the word morality or any sense that the statements, the ought statements, are automatically tied to the elemental core value stuff. There's no declarations that I'm arguing besides, well, if this is true, then this is true. And it's not any more than that. There's no dogmatic edicts about what particular behavior is required, beyond suggesting that until you come up with a better solution, this solution will fit and work. And that's all. So anyway, so yeah, I completely separate myself from making any dogmatic statements as if a God wrote the truth or any of that stuff, or any of this truth is beyond our understanding and we need a God to go give it to us. So it just is, again, but they do this, people are people, and they'll try to pigeonhole your argument into being something that it's not. And like I said, I couldn't have made a more aggressive effort. Frankly, I was a pretty aggressive effort to say I really don't like the word morality. I'm really not doing a Ten Commandment thing. Please don't imply that that's any part of my argument, because it's not. I'm not defending a religious dogma. I'm defending a rational analysis of our circumstance as sentient organisms in this universe. All right, so that having been said, is there much else to say? Maybe I'll come back to this and do comments. So maybe I'll just show the video that's on the website, because some people need to be told this. There's a whole video on the website. So I shouldn't indulge people that need me to say that. So, but I'll do it this one more time. Alright, back. It didn't take long. Yeah, I don't know if I need to play any of it. So I just went through some of the arguments that were made, and now with some hindsight and some perspective regarding what the hanging points are, kind of attempted to restate my arguments, but they came out a lot like my original arguments, so it's not all that different. But I think it's important that the parts that are different be made clear, and that this isn't much more complicated than his accusation that somehow we are misinterpreting the sensations that are unpleasant, that they are benign, and we have, with some volition, turned the sensation from something wonderful into something awful. We have subjectified it in some way, and no, we haven't. We didn't get it wrong. So maybe I'll read comments. So I'll pause again and go back to the video and read comments instead. But link to this video will also be below. Alright, appears you can see that. So I hit the newest first button. Now the good news is there were quite a few people who said it doesn't make any sense to be an aggressive vegan, that is telling other people they should be something when you don't know that there's anything called an ought. You really shouldn't be doing the should thing if you don't think there's oughts. Okay, that's not too bright, or too consistent, let's just say. So that's pretty bad. And just some other statements that were, generally speaking, people were pretty much, there were quite a few people who showed up to say nihilism be dumb. Okay, it don't work, frankly. It's no good for civilization, that's for sure. And it's just not right. It's just he's the one being unfair to the brutality that is existence. He uses comparisons like pizza toppings to describe the difference between a good day and a bad day for a human being, and that's just absolutely ridiculous. Chemotherapy is not a pizza topping, and if it was, it would be something like plague and botulism combined. Alright, anyway. I'll read some of this, as it came in, the newest first. So 32 seconds ago. Vegan Gains, this guy that used to call people out on steroids, now he's on them. What a T-watt. T-8. So I don't know what that is. Whatever. So, people always bring up some other subject, and you're just, well, this really isn't about that subject. We all have anybody who's been on the internet for a while doing this daily almost thing is going to, is going to be themselves a little too often. And, they're going to have said things the wrong way or an unnecessarily harsh way or out of frustration and fatigue, not use perfect words, and people just hang on that forever. And it's just, who does it prove to be a jackass? Right? I mean, frankly, I mean, if you're going to call somebody a hypocrite for, and you're not on the subject of a video, I mean, what do you call somebody who can't stay on the subject of the subjects? I mean, it's just no point people making videos with subject titles if people are going to bring up other shit in the videos. Alright, so it says, quit uploading. You're making jack shit nothing due to your shitty personality. So, I guess he's got his group of haters. But, what's the point of this? There's a real subject. Can't you stay on the fucking subject, moron? So again, who's worse? Any of Vegan Gain's crimes against humanity are these assholes who refuse to allow rational connection between subject titles and content. Alright. How is this guy still on this platform? So we don't know who he's talking about, right? But I guess that's towards me. So it's that bad. It's that they don't even think you should be allowed to talk. Okay, they're such fascists. It's just, you're just saying, what you think your comment is in some way going to be effective at doing something except making you look like the blight of the human race? I mean, this is why humans suck. It's because morons can't stay on the subject and they can't say anything meaningful. They just say, I don't like you. That's it. They're like 5-year-olds. I don't like it. Well, too fucking bad. It's reality, shithead. Alright. Earth is flat. Space is fake. Sony inmendham. Oh, sorry. Yeah, 2 R's do look like an N to my less than perfect eyesight now. So, of course, I'm not arguing that the Earth is flat. I'm arguing that science should be evidenced. Oh, what a horror. Well, you shouldn't do that. You mean science shouldn't be just like a religion and they should just say little fable-y things about what took place and what happens, and nobody should ask for anything called evidence? That would be ridiculous. I mean, God, what little fucking pieces of crap. And he calls himself Death. Oh, fuck. Black Death. So, yes, frankly, being him or dying of the plague. Oh, which one would I choose? I mean, it could take 2 weeks to die of the plague. It's really bad. I don't, and I'm still, I really don't want to be this asshole. Fate worse than torture? Yeah, that might be it. Alright, you're so very wrong. So that's from V-Gain. Now, we don't know who that is, but, so whatever. Vegan. Oh, it's from Vegan. Sorry. I'm so very correct. So Des comes back with, I'm so very correct. It's just hilarious. Correct about what? I mean, it is just funny. Let's just go see if he has a channel. I mean, just what playlists. I have little playlists. Look, TV commercials. I like to watch commercials over and over and over again. It's so much fun. And he has tunes that look like, oh, okay, that's just some kind of rappy shit that, people play in their cars way too loud. So, yeah, he likes being a moron. And then he has currency with a little fake, number sign S in it. Like, that's going to mean something. Futures. I don't think that's the best place for anybody to be, but whatever. Good luck there. And then he has a Mazda, apparently. Let's see. Scary Hours 3. We don't know. That's a cartoon of some kind. Drake, I don't know. Looks kind of faggoty to me. And basketball. The most retarded of the sports, pretty much. Okay. So, we found out what this guy was. He has a different name than the death part, which is... why the fuck did YouTube let that happen? Oh yeah, my screen name is different. My channel name's different than the name that shows up. as my channel name. Doesn't that make perfect sense? No, it doesn't make perfect sense. Alright, aren't you the guy who grabbed a camera as his grandfather was passing away? Well, it probably is, you know, frankly, I saw a video a couple of weeks ago of somebody actually doing that, you know, going the last minutes of grandma's existence. And he videoed it, and looking at it, you're just saying, "Oh fuck, I do not wish to do this." You know, with the tubes and the whole, you know, the whole horrendous setup. And it's probably that's part of reality on this planet, is accepting an awful lot of very unpleasant things to have to witness and watch to happen to people, and so, bravo to people who have the courage to grab a camera and, you know, and create the possibility of having to relive just awful experiences. Anyway, I was a nihilist, black pill person until I started watching inmendham videos. Very good. I considered myself nihilist because of a lack of evidence of an afterlife. So that's a weird one. Because there's no heaven, it means that life isn't hell? Yeah, no, I don't think so. I figured if there was no afterlife, then everything is meaningless, but there's meaning to us while we're alive. Well, that's the part that's kind of obvious, frankly. I mean, I don't know how you miss it as being conscious and then say, it's meaningless whether I have a nail in my eye or some sort of pizza with a flavorful topping. Cupcake topping on my pizza. Nail in the eye or cupcake topping on my pizza. No, I don't think the choice is very hard. It should be our goal to create as little suffering as possible. It should be our goal not to be a menace. Yes, to be something not a menace, and to not be a menace, you can't leave a bunch of squirming, half-dying things in your wake. We should be bullying. We shouldn't be bullying or harming other people. Yes, even when we hate them, we really should recognize that their suffering does not help. But you sure want it, right? There's some glib assholes that say things like, "I'm gonna cook me some beef and eat it right in front of your face." Yeah, and you're just saying, gee, you know, I wish somebody would feed him to piranhas or something. I mean, just, you know, I can't say I don't sincerely wish it and that I sincerely would love to watch the person get eaten alive, because they're just such scum. I mean, anyone who mocks suffering just can't get it bad enough, right? I mean, I don't know how you get it bad enough. I mean, it's the worst kind of hate crime you can be guilty of, you know, frankly, to mock pain. Oh, you just can't get it. You can't get what you deserve, because it just can't get bad enough. All right, if we choose to eat animals, we should be hunting and farming in a moral way, not torturing them in factory farms. So I've seen the, you know, do-it-yourself farm, and it's not graceful, because, you know, they don't have enough people. It's always run on a shoestring budget. All kinds of compromises take place, all kinds of filth and untidiness and cruelty, you know, where, yeah, nothing gets fed for 3 days, but you have a cold, you know, so all kinds of bullshit. I mean, stuff that's just not good. So I think it's just this pretending that there's some kind of pleasant way to raise animals and kill them that's just benign and charming. It's just bullshit. What people should do is that if they're meat eaters, is just admit that they're too weak and uninterested and selfish to do something about it, and that's the simple answer. And yes, they wouldn't do it if, you know, as long as you concede that if you're going to make a living being, you would rather they could live without eating other living beings. That would be a sensible thing to, I mean, you know, feeling beings. That would be a sensible thing to say. And so if you can at least say that part, I don't care whether you're vegan. I don't care whether you're vegetarian, as long as you vote the right way, so to speak. I mean, as long as you're conceding that what you're doing sucks, Okay, no problem. There's things that we can do while we're here to make the world a better place. We shouldn't ignore the suffering of others. Just my opinion. We certainly shouldn't mock it. Jeez. And others includes animals. All right, not just opinion. Read my comments on here. Okay, Henry. I made 2 long ones. Defining value. Bad exists, not more. Illusion, delusion, or up to opinion. Yeah, very good. Henry's, pretty good at writing. So, but yeah, it's telling somebody to go look for the comment. Since it's a reply, you probably could repost the comment just because it's a reply and not too many people are going to look at it. So they won't see the redundancy. But once a channel has, 300 and whatever, 400 comments, it all disappears pretty fast. All right, Truth Hammer. Inmendham is correct. Well, that is correct, but you don't really have, got to prove that I'm right. You can't just say it. All morality has objective basis. So no, see, all morality is just it's just such wrong rhetoric. Just acknowledge the truth value of the fact that sensations, experiences have value. There's value in conscious experience. All right, objective basis, and the basis is suffering. Okay, pain against one's will is bad. Well, it's pain is always bad. The will part, the fact that, somebody does bring that up, this stupid masochist crap. I don't really argue this. Masochists are not enjoying the pain. They're enjoying their ego boost, the power they gain by controlling their reaction to it. So they're basically trying to fix having a small wiener by having a big pain tolerance, something like that. Like they're proving they're a man through some other way than measuring dicks. It's that kind of thing. They're getting over some other inferiority thing, some other complex they have by, embracing the fire. So it's like the idiots who walk on fire or do these other little antics, that don't really hurt, but look dangerous. They do the antics, okay, because it's a free way of getting some kind of little ego boost. All right, fake vegan. So I don't know why you make that kind of argument either. I don't think there's a whole lot of evidence that he's fake, but whatever. Go through that again for me. With a bunch of silly icons. God, just I wish there were a lot more happy accidents, where stuff like this, got dipped in paint remover. Anyway, nihilist, ? More like hypocrite. Convenientist, yes, it's, just seems like it's a very convenient way to evade having to problem solve if you can just make problems evaporate into subjectivity. All right. Let's see. So many moral nihilists on YouTube seem to conflate. I hate that word. You could just say confuse. Okay, you don't have to use this modern little snowflake conflate word. Objective with universal. Well, he did say the word universal and objective, and yes, he does, in my opinion, play the game that somehow I'm arguing because everybody agrees it must be true, when it's not about people agreeing. It's about the fact that you can't manifest any other condition. Nobody's not poisoned by pain, so to speak. It's a poison that works on everybody, so it's not just that it's universal. It's a fact that the poison is poisonous. Okay. You nailed it with the pineapple pizza analogy. I don't get this. Seem to conflate objective with university. You nailed it with the pineapple pizza analogy, VG. So it's so amazing that some moron could think comparing your worst day to your best day is like comparing pineapple on your pizza to anchovies on your pizza. Amazing bullshit. So frustrating when inmendham refuses to discuss the definitions of objective and subjective. What definitions? There's nothing to define. The word objective has to do with a perspective, okay? And you're basically saying the objective perspective is one in which there are no missing bits or perverted bits. And subjective is implying a less complete view, or a view perverted by religion, for example. Nihilism, religion. Okay, that the whole point of the debate, so yes, the whole point of the debate is your argument that somehow people aren't properly interpreting their suffering, that somehow they're supposed to take the feeling nature made deliberately nasty isn't really nasty. And I'd argue that is so fucking idiotic that I shouldn't even have to respond to somebody who thinks the feeling has been misinterpreted. I wish VG pulled an ask yourself, and just refused to move from that. Ask yourself what? Isn't chemotherapy just like a pizza topping? Fucking idiot. Let's see. So Henry chimes in again. Look at my two other too long comments. Yeah, it's not just a straw man. It's a pile of shit, man. I mean, there's just nothing reasonable about comparing our sensations and the cavern of difference between a nail in the eye and a cupcake and pizza toppings. I mean, it's not a rational response. Let's see. All self-proclaimed nihilists are liars or psychopaths or both. Well, as I've certainly said, this is, if you want to be a serial killer, you need to be a nihilist first. I mean, it certainly does make it really easy. So, but, the fact is that I don't think there's any rational confusion regarding the existence of the condition of repeatability and non-repeatability in terms of our sensations. That there's absolutely no doubt there are sensations never worth experiencing and sensations that are less horrible. That's all I'll say. So Vegan Gains is saying that there is no such thing as objective value when it comes to suffering. So if someone tortured him, he is saying he wouldn't care. That's what he is. I mean, that's the logical conclusion. So the nihilists are basically saying, look, we've slandered torture. Torture isn't so bad. We've just made a mess out of it somehow. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But yeah, they don't show us how they can do it right. So you show me how you do torture right, fuckheads, nihilists. I mean, really, you can't really, again, I'm just back to saying, get what you deserve, you scum. I mean, to mock suffering is just so disgusting a thing to do. All right, if suffering has no objective value, then why the hell is he vegan then? Yes, exactly. Why would he waste time worried about it? Except for maybe a health reason then. All right, Henry chimes in. So Vegan Gains is saying there's no such thing as objective value. Okay, if someone tortured him, so he's repeating that sentence too. All right, no, it's not that he's necessarily wouldn't care. Okay, so I think he has to say he necessarily doesn't think it matters. Saying he cares when it doesn't matter would be kind of what? He's going to say, well, I'm just so subjectively biased that I couldn't help reacting to it like it was bad because I'm a bigot too. I'm a suffering bigot. Is that what he's going to argue? Too stupid. He can have preferences against it. It's just that. Whatever. That's his subjective opinion or preference. So but we already know that it's not his subjective opinion or preference because the nature of the feeling is negative. So I disagree with you, Henry. All right, that would be an is statement, and Kent jumped to an ought statement. So whatever. I just hate this is ought baby talk. So one guy makes this crap up, whatever his name was, and all of a sudden everybody just chimes in on this nonsense. So it's almost like wave particle or something. It's just like, oh, fuck you people. When he finds X wrong, that's just his opinion. It boils down to the kind of emotivism. So again, we had talked about that. This isn't about emotions. This isn't about what you add to a feeling or what you add to a circumstance. So that's just bullshit too. Moral sentimentalism. So I don't know what that crap was. Why you included that statement, Henry. Finding pineapple pizza is not objectively tasty. It's just his preference, according to under ethical nihilism. When someone finds, what the hell is this? Graping a kid as bad wrong, that's essentially just you or me describing our preferences, like whether one finds art like the Mona Lisa beautiful. And yes, again, so yes, this is ridiculous though. We don't do that to a toothache. We're not sitting there and saying, somebody doesn't have the choice to say, I enjoy toothaches. It's just ridiculous. All right, the belief that moral judgments are statements about emotional or mental responses of individuals, not objective or have actual real basis or grounding. The claim of strong intuition is only basis for moral ethics. In other words, it's just he said, she said, moral subjective made up opinion. So I don't know what all this is. So why did you type this? This is a steaming pile of shit, Henry, frankly. I don't know what the fuck you're doing here. Not making a very good argument. See my very too long comments. Well, now I'm not very encouraged, frankly. Where I deconstruct and refute all of Vegan Gain's points on his mischaracterization, pigeonholing, and bring the question fallacy. So more fallacies, and be a fucktard fallacy. In other words, arguing in a circle, break down the semantics terminology as well. I can't paste here, as algorithm will view it as quite spammy. Yes. Well, you ought to just do your own YouTube channel and make videos, I guess. But whatever. Please do another debate with Wiltst, whatever that is, with Silts. I don't know. Vegan Gains, so many people, really, they just, Jesus Christ, they just can't stay on the subject. Vegan Gains isn't getting it. The value is in the sentient experience, just the fact that we are conscious and we have sensations, and the sensations come in good and bad flavors, okay? Poison and not poison. That's where the meaning comes from, the bad and the good sensations. Well, everything else is deriving its value based on how it affects a human being. So tornadoes are bad because they hurt people. If they didn't hurt people, they wouldn't be bad. And Henry chimes in again, agree, but we and other realists have to argue it better, maybe even help Inmendham perfectly construct the argument. There you go. That's the idea. Please take a look at my two very long comments. Okay. Where I deconstruct. Okay, we already did all that part. BBQ, weather today. What do you prefer? Burgers or steak? So this is one of the people, like I said, that you just, I have to just say that I would really like that society would just capture him and feed him to ants or something. Just fuck this guy. The worst fucking possible way. Give him the worst of it. Because he just doesn't deserve anything less. Okay. No fucking way. So not very, Yeah, it happened. Fucking way. Yeah. But no drama. See, probably a lot of people were very disappointed because there really wasn't much drama, in the conversation. Yeah. If Inmendham's argument is that sentient beings create value, that's right, by being conscious. That's what they're doing. Every minute they're conscious, they're having an experience. The experience has a qualia, and that qualia is value. And that the universe has no value without the presence of sentient beings generating it. Yes, that's as true as it can get. I don't know how you can evade that argument that universes that have feeling things in it are a lot more complicated than universes that don't have feeling things in them. Would it not follow that that the ought is inherently built into sensation. Yes, that's where the whole argument is the bad is inherently built into sensation. We wouldn't have the word bad if people didn't feel bad. That would be my argument. We'd have no way of even conceptualizing a bad event because there would be no way to make something bad. It just wouldn't happen. If you couldn't hurt something, you can't make a bad. I mean, it really is that simple. I mean, I should write that down. All right. If the only thing that can have meaning in the universe is the experience of a sentient being, ought we not maximize its value just by nature of its experience being the only thing that can matter? I don't even know what to do with that part of the sentence. Yeah, I don't know. I'll give up on that one. Oh, it's broken. It's not a good sign. You can't get something to open. There, it worked that way, that time. So Henry in again, chimes in again. Okay, so he quotes, and yes, but by the way, Vegan Gains unfairly reframes it, is that subjectively place value on it, that it's entirely subjective. Yes, the feeling is not subjective. What we feel about can be due to a subjective interpretation, that what is provokes a feeling in us can often be subjective. Clearly some people have vertigo, some people don't. People can be repulsed by, you could just name something, and there's people that could be repulsed by it. And other people are not. So that part is subjective. What causes us to have a good feeling or a bad feeling is subjective. Bad feelings and good feelings are not subjective, are not subject to interpretation. They are decidedly one thing, or it can't be a bad sensation if it ain't bad. Okay. This shows complete ineptitude in grasping the subject and misrepresenting the arguments like crazy. No one is arguing whether Mona Lisa is objectively beautiful or some other thing. Well, it's certainly not the conversation, and the syllogism has been stated over and over and over again. Oh, that is a long comment. Okay, well, we'll save that for later. All right, thank you for the reply. There's a lot to chew on here. I agree that if inmendham wants to defend his position, whatever, it would be prudent to construct a more foolproof way of communicating. Well, you could argue that about every single conversation any human beings ever have, and that, we should just all write scripts or something. So I'm not too big a fan of that, but whatever. You really do have to deal with the fact that everybody constructs it. Look, the other guy was talking about being a nihilist, and he said he was a nihilist because he didn't believe in, heaven. So it's, all these different ways that people interpret the facts to say something matters or doesn't matter, and you really do have to pick at somebody to find out what the really root cause of their perception is. I mean, what do they really hate about the person? Is it the shirt they're wearing? Is it their hair color? What is it that's irritating them? It's so that there is no failure of understanding possible. There's some failure of understanding that's going to be inevitable, in the sense that obviously, as I stated in the video, to me it's all flat earth gobbledygook. I don't know how anything rational could sustain the opinion that it doesn't matter whether you have a good feeling or a bad feeling. It clearly matters. It's clearly incredibly important. It's important to me. I know it's important for me. So I'm just doing the logic of saying, well, if it's important for me, it must be important for all the other feeling things. Let's see, as far as subjective issues is concerned, aren't subjective experiences also objective as well, in a sense? Well, the argument is whether the experience is necessary or unnecessary. So the part that's being debated is whether you feel pain as necessarily obnoxious. Okay. And, you know, that's the one where I say, well, you can't feel it any other way. It seems, or it wouldn't be pain. It seems to be kind of a meaningless dichotomy to my mind. Well, you don't get the reason why there is the argument in the first place. Because we exist in a physical universe. As inmendham said, the occurrence in our brain are physical configurations that can be observed and duplicated. Exactly. We could put it in a jar. If we synthesized out of our brain function just sensations, okay, and took out butterfly, you know, take all the stuff I have references to, then it's probably more than half of my brain is just, you know, all the shit you learned in high school and all the other crap, you know, all that little bullshit, you know, you know, I don't know, caterpillar versus butterfly versus this, but playing, you know, all, take away all that shit, take away all the knowledge of all function and just put the sensation in a jar. You label it bad because it just doesn't matter. You don't need to contextualize a sensation. It's bad all by itself. It just doesn't need anybody else to say it. It doesn't need anything else. It's a physical fact that configuration of electricity and cellular matter manifests something bad, and it just does. Never run that computer program. It's like a virus or something, a computer virus. You just don't run it. It doesn't do anything good. It just does everything it possible to fuck the system. That means our internal processes are objective occurrences in the universe, right? Well, I mean, it just means that. I mean, obviously there's people who think there's gods and all kinds of woo and angels, and you know, so they don't think we have free will, whatever the fuck that would be. So, you know. But obviously, if you believe in a mechanical universe, physical universe with mechanical functions, cause and effect, you can perfectly understand why we feel. And understand why nature's too stupid to understand it shouldn't torture things to do what it wants. Okay, torturing is bad. Okay. Alright, so maybe that's enough. Alright, so I'm an F-list, this one starts with. So it's good that people didn't change the subject too much, so give them credit for that in terms of the F-lism. But, you know, this apparently needs to be argued, and it's just, you know, but I'm going to claim that most of the people who are nihilists aren't intelligent, okay? Just like most of the people who are flat earthers aren't intelligent, okay? You can't really be smart and say something stupid. So, you know, the fact that Vegan Gains has some grasp of semi-eloquent verbiage, you know, but it's really not really. He just kept changing the subject. He kept just trying to say that somehow my understanding of bad sensations is a preference, you know, that I prefer to make pain unpleasant. You know, that I preferred it into that condition when it didn't have the condition all by itself. Just, I argue, ridiculously ignorant, frankly. Alright, yeah, it seems like enough. I mean, you know, it's probably enough considering you have the whole hour and a half of the interview. Ooh. Well, it says recording, but it says 000, which isn't a great number. Who knows? I won't worry about it. It's okay. Yeah, it really says nothing there. Oh, that's just so not good. Alright, 43 minutes. That's better. So, till the next time and such and so forth and whatnot. I really think that's enough. So, I'll put my little syllogism in. Yeah. 5 minutes. I mean, it didn't take any time. I'm just saying that this argument really should be that simple, but obviously these people want to beat the dead horse kind of idea, and you know, they're going to force you to elaborately prove that water's wet, and it's just like, oh, come on, you really don't need an elaborate proof, do you? But they do. They're going to demand it to, you know, or they won't sacrifice their totem pole of nihilism. So till the next time, such, so forth and whatnot.